Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Jelisaveta. I am a full stack sales at LeadDelta. Today, I have Hanneke with me. Hanneke is our super user, as I like to call her. And we met about a month ago. And after our chat, we had this amazing idea to organize our first webinar and just let people know what people out there are doing as far as selling and social selling go. So Hanneke, I'll leave it to you to make a quick introduction.
Yeah, well, it's always funny to see like my own picture on the screen and with all the words that I gave you to. Okay, so let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm a Dutchie. I was born in 1982, so that makes me 40, almost 41 now. I've been a sales addict. If you'd ask my mom, she'd say that I would sell her things by the time I was able to talk. And throughout my career, I've been in sales, did some side work, but it was mostly commercial work. And since 2020, I've been bootstrapping sales tech within my company, Stryfes, because sales tech was never on the market. It was never really a thing. It was really down the down low. We had CRM, but the last 10 years, a lot changed, and I've been using it for a while, but I was always surprised that people were never using it. So salespeople kept on talking about how busy they are and how hard things are. And I know that because I've been doing it, but I don't understand why they're not using tech. So that's how I rolled into the whole sales tech business. And I've been building my consultancy company. I've been working for tech companies and whenever, I think that since the late 80s, I was about 7 or 8, I was hooked on tech, not just like building my own computers, but actually on using it, doing it, making it things do for me. And the ass kicking comes from the fact that I do martial arts. I've been doing that since I was 12, and do karate and jiu-jitsu. And I think that's throughout my life, it's been a big thing. So that's, if it's not working one way, you got to work with what you're good at. And if it's not working one way, you got to try it another. That's what I learned from martial arts. And I think that I put that in all of my work, especially in social selling as well. So it's like, this is what sums me up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to when it comes to sports and sales, but that is a different topic. But
It's
I
a
sure
different
love
topic. That's
that you're
very
still,
true.
yeah.
So how about you,
Um,
Yeli?
well, a bit about me. Well, as I said, I'm a full cycle sales at LeadDelta. I joined this magnificent team about 3 months ago. LeadDelta has been voted the #1 SaaS of 2022, and we have our amazing community to thank for this because it was totally unplanned and unexpected. There's a lot to my sales career, but I won't get too much into it because we have a lot to cover. A fun thing about me is that when I'm not selling software that I have been doing for, well, almost 10 years now, I am a sommelier. I'm a certified sommelier, so I like to work with wine as well.
Great. Well, we have a lot to talk about then. I love
Yeah,
wine.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
okay.
So before we get into our topic, I just wanted to ask you, what is your definition of social selling?
My definition of social selling is using social media or platforms where people come together, which is like pretty much social media, to find people who are interested in buying stuff from you. So that's social selling for me. It's like the whole getting in contact and getting a seat at the table with them to discuss their needs and sell your solutions.
And that differs obviously from like the standard processes that we are all used to in the sales world. Fun fact, 85% of the current sales processes can be automated. So another way, and that's why we came here together, is to discuss how we can differentiate ourselves from like the standard processes that include outreach via email, phone, and etc. Before anything, like how do you distinguish between a personal brand, because that relates a lot to social selling as well, and
Mhm.
social selling? So are those two combined? Are they the same? How would you define them?
I think that you need a personal brand to do social selling very well on a top level. I don't think you need a personal brand to be doing social selling. So it's not something you actually need. So for me, there are two parts in social selling. So it's the publishing part, telling the world what you've been up to, how you think about things, educate them on some stuff. That's the publishing part. And the other part is connecting and trying to talk to people. And it's more powerful if you do both, but you don't have to. So that means sales teams can just start doing social selling without going through the whole marketing ordeal about like what should we publish and establishing my own personal brand and whatever. So it's not something that you have to do, but I think that personal branding makes it stronger.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for this because I have been contemplating on this one for a long time. I once read this fun post on LinkedIn that said, you don't need a personal brand as an SDR if you don't want to brand yourself as an SDR. Yeah, that
That's
was a good
good.
one. But yeah, I do agree that you don't need a personal brand to be doing social selling, but somehow
Mhm.
people intervene those two and think like, okay, so I have to be present all the time. I have to post personal things related to business in order to sell. But no, that's only a part of it if you choose
It
that
makes it
to.
stronger. So if you really want to go fast, but it's hard. So let's say you have a sales team of 10 people and they're all on, let's say, LinkedIn, and they're all trying to like connect with their buyers, with their target groups. It's hard to be a sales on LinkedIn. Let's not kid everybody. So if you have a full-on sales profile and you're not bringing something to the table, and you start pitching and do the spray and pray method, you won't get far. It will get you some, but your results will not be any better than cold emailing. When what I see with me, for myself and for all of my clients, is that if you do the LinkedIn game the way it should be done, like on a personal level, and have like optimized profiles for it, you can get so much more out of it with less work. So that means that you do need some sort of an optimization for your team members, but you don't all have to talk about it constantly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it requires work, and we will get to that as well.
Mhm.
But no, like if we have any sales leaders today, um, they usually think, okay, but I don't want my team to be spending a lot of time unless they are sales teams who are selling to sales teams. So naturally, they are more present on LinkedIn and
Mhm.
posting. But no, they don't need to be present there all the time, but they do have to have some kind of a presence and at least educating their audience on their products, not necessarily like pitching them and like sending them content, but they need to be educating people that they actually want to sell to. So to answer the question that we have on our slide, can all sales teams implement social selling? Um, to be completely transparent, I thought that the answer was no. If you would have asked me a year ago, I would have told you, no, it is not possible. But now, as I'm trying to figure out the importance of the LinkedIn network, I think if your leads are on LinkedIn, you can make it work.
Yeah, so let's cover it. It's not just about LinkedIn. It's way broader than that. But if you look at where the most people are in a business context, so if you're doing B2B sales, LinkedIn is a very, very powerful network, and most likely the one where you can find your decision makers. So it's probably the place where you want to be. For me, and I think that I'm going back and forth between yes and no. Can all teams do it? So I feel you when you say no, like not every team is ready for it. Not everybody has the right product to sell, or not every team has the right focus. But I think that if you want to, everybody can do social selling and can do it on LinkedIn, because, well, mostly your target group would be there.
Yeah, it's still the biggest business network.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. Um, So before we get into the strategy part, so just wanted to say, like, if you're thinking about implementing social selling and you don't have a plan, and definitely requires a plan, you will be spending time on activities that are not bringing you results. You will be creating a network that won't engage, and this is, I think, the most crucial part when it comes to social selling. You will be also creating irrelevant content because, for example, if you want to sell to CEOs, you want to make sure your content is relevant to them and not to, for example, technical people. And of course, you won't be able to quantify this, and you will be thinking, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yep. Yeah, it can be a lot of work. If you don't have a plan, it's a lot of work for nothing, and you might get something out of it. But if you actually know what you're doing, it helps. It helps to see what works, what doesn't work, and to engage the right people.
Yeah.
True, very true.
Exactly. So before you develop a strategy, you have to ask a couple of questions to yourself and to your team. So first of all, why would you be using socials? Yeah, we're not only talking about LinkedIn, but we will also get into other networks. What outcomes do you want to achieve, and how will you know that you're doing it right? I think this one is the most important one. So I listed a couple of, um, let's say, like, goals that you can measure your social selling with. So some of them are clearly the reach of your posts, the number of leads in your DMs. I think that one is the most important one. Of course, as you increase the reach, there is a potential of increasing the leads in your DMs. Relevant connections, of course. If you're B2B, maybe you get attention of the VCs, people you hire. This one, we really like to emphasize it in LeadDelta. So if you're a hiring manager, you always want to be networking with people, and your social selling will reflect also in the people you hired. A number of job offers. I have to say, from my personal experience, the last 3 jobs I got was thanks to my presence on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Invitations to conferences, podcasts, etc., and of course mentors, because you cannot be doing everything alone.
Yeah. Well, if I can comment on a couple of these things. So, because there's a lot of conversations going
Sure.
on about the reach of your posts,
Mhm.
because people say, well, views are not important. It's all about who comments, and you can find the gold there. But there's a contradiction in it. So most people who will end up being leads and very valuable customers for you won't be the ones liking your posts. They're not the ones interacting with you in your posts, but will directly dive into your DM or even book you a
Yeah.
meeting immediately. But in order to get the most reach, you need to have people that engage, because that's what the all of the algorithms like. So whenever something is very popular, when a liking a button is getting hit, when there's a lot of comments, you get a lot of reach. And with reach, a lot of extra people see your post. And that helps. So measuring reach is a hard one, because it's not every post that gets a lot of views, but being there consistently and looking at your reach over time, and if it's growing, if it's like adding up, that's the thing that matters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember the reach is definitely important, but I remember some of my posts going viral, and like I had 0 leads in my DM. So
Yeah.
it's important, but it's not the only key measure of your success.
And money raised is also a thing for me. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No, don't
but
worry.
the money raised is, I never look at that when it comes. I only look at the leads that were done. So
Yeah.
if you do like an analysis of all of the leads brought in through your social media, but you see in the end it doesn't bring any turnover, no revenue, you might want to look into your sales process after, like, from the first meeting and on, because those people reaching out through social media, like, and actually being a lead, not just someone talking to you, but actually being a lead. And if it doesn't turn into a customer, you're doing something wrong in your sales process. It's not something you're doing wrong in your social selling.
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about strategy, do you
Mhm.
want to elaborate a bit more on that one?
Yeah, sure. So choosing your platform, LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Instagram, Facebook, it really depends on your target group. So where are they? When you're in a B2B context, LinkedIn and Twitter are usually very good. If you're in a more technical context, Discord might work. Instagram, Facebook, Facebook is, yeah, that's, I kind of, I'm not really seeing it a lot, but Instagram does work. Snapchat, TikTok, those things work too, but it's more behind the scenes, like showing you're human. And there's so many examples of people doing so well on those platforms that, but it's not the lead generation part that does it there. It's more showing you're human. And LinkedIn is being human, but being very professional. So it's the choosing. I think that LinkedIn Plus should be for all B2B sales teams. So start with LinkedIn. If you're good at it, you can also add some others. So yeah, that's like a thing. Defining your audience. Yeah, well, that's like who are we talking to? What are they saying? What are they worried about? What do they want? I think that, like, for instance, Justin Welsh does that very well. Yeah, it's like not pitching, being very social, showing your colors. Like, that's the be human part. There's a lot of boring content going on. So,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of boring pitches and DMs. So try to be creative and not like putting the same boring content into a video, because that's not being creative. It's like trying to like actually connect with someone, like, hey, how you doing, instead of, hey, I'm selling this, do you want to buy it? So let I think that Richard van der Blom says that well. He's calling it a CTA, but it's a CTF. I'm sorry. It's a call to feel more than a call to action.
That's a good one.
So there's
Definitely.
the strategy should not be to sell your product on, let's say, LinkedIn. Your strategy should be to get into contact with a human being. And that flips the perspective.
Yeah. I just want to add a couple of more things. So
Mhm.
I think you should not be adding like 5 different channels. Like, okay, I want to go big on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Discord, on Instagram. I think you should start with one at a time, like master one, then the second one. Once you're sure that you're getting leads in from LinkedIn, maybe you want to incorporate TikTok. I see a lot of salespeople doing TikToks and publishing them then on LinkedIn as well.
Mhm.
And when it comes to adapting like your strategy of your content, it really ties back like the second, the third, and the fourth point. They're all intertwined. Like you want to be doing content for your audience, but you also want to make sure that you have the right audience.
Yeah.
So you may have thousands of connections on LinkedIn, but if you have no idea who is in your network, all of your content, you will just see it like, okay, I'm posting, but nothing is happening. It's
Yeah.
because your content is not resonating with your targeted group, provided you have a targeted group
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. So like one of the first things I saw when I joined LeadDelta, of course, I have the perk of using the product itself, was analyzing my network. So who do I have inside my network? And I was shocked to see that like 2/3 of my network come from the States, and I thought they were coming from Europe. But no, I have people in the States. So naturally, if I want to post on LinkedIn, I would be posting later in the afternoon when the East Coast or the West Coast wakes up, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. True. It's analyzing, and that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what platforms are you using?
I am oh, that's a good question. So I'm mostly on LinkedIn, because my company is not that big and I just wrote a book. So I've been very busy. So I've been focusing on LinkedIn. I've been having a look at Twitter again. I left the platform pretty much at like 2013. I was so done with it. I didn't like it, but I see good results at my customers. And so I'm like, should I go back? I've been lingering around post for a bit because I thought that would be an interesting alternative to Twitter. I don't like Instagram. I just don't like it. Well, I like the leech, but I'm not really doing it. I'm too old for TikTok. I'm sorry.
I
Just
am actually
missed that boat.
I'm actually
So
contemplating, I'm sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you.
no, go ahead.
I'm actually contemplating Twitter as because I see myself like when I think during the day and like I have stuff to say, it's usually like a 1 or 2 sentences. So I
Yeah.
think it makes sense more for Twitter than for
Yeah, so
LinkedIn.
and I have that too. I feel you because LinkedIn is like very rigid on you post once a day. If you do it more than once a day, your audience not big enough, you'll be killed. Like the views go down, so it doesn't work. So you should be doing
Yeah,
something
and
different.
there are all of these trends like, okay, now we have the biggest reach with carousels, then with polls, then with, I don't know, selfies and stuff. I mean, it's really hard to keep track of what's trending in the
Hmm.
moment. So like Twitter is like very straightforward. Also TikTok, I think it's nice, although I have to get used to like doing videos of myself. I'm not really comfortable with that, but I'm not comfortable even with hosting this webinar, but I'm doing it. So
So you can do it. You can do
yeah.
it. Now it's like it's producing all of this content, and that's what I'm trying to say. Is like don't go for sales teams, don't go all wild and do it all together. Like if you want to do the publishing part as well and build the personal brands of the people to attract more clients, try to like do either one person and do it like the full Monty and have people help create content for it, or do it all together, like with the entire sales team, and just do it once a week. And then it's so much easier. And like carousels and all these things just take up so much time. Just writing a little post is so much easier than anything else. Video is a lot of work if you want to do it well. So that's the good thing about like TikTok or Instagram. You can just like make it super natural and authentic. But on LinkedIn, that doesn't really work that well.
Yeah, true.
So try not to fall into like all of these hypes going on, like, oh, we need to do this or we need to do that. Just try to keep it low and just keep it simple for yourself. Just start up with either one person or everybody on the team, and then do the posting like once a week. That's fine too. Just try to build up a little bit before you go all wild and all in. It's not that. It's just you need to learn and just find the fun in it. Because if you're like constantly worried about, do I have enough content, and it just takes the fun out.
Yeah, for sure. And I kept this slide for a while now. So when we think about setting the engine, and now that I look at the presentation, um, I think it really it resembles an email campaign
It
or
is.
any other campaign that you want to set up. So do you want to walk me through your social selling engine?
Yeah. Because most people don't know me in this webinar, but I hate doing manual work. I just totally hate it. And it's if it's repetitive, I just go around it. I don't do it. I don't have the discipline to do repetitive work. So I started off like using LinkedIn to the fullest about 3 years ago. I'm sorry. About 3 years ago. And I was like, oh, I need to follow up on this. I need to follow up on that, and yada, yada, yada. I hated it. So I stopped doing it for a bit. And then I was like, okay, but I'm leaving gold here. So I really want to do it. So I dived into the whole world of LinkedIn automation, which is like not very legal. If it would have been illegal, LinkedIn would have killed all the APIs, which they didn't. And there's still tools popping up. So they say it's illegal, but it's actually not. So let's just use it. So when it comes to like targeting your audience, I really love Sales Navigator. It really helps you find the people, the companies, and the people in it to do it. You have like all of these sales intelligence tools that you can use around it to even go further on it. But I think that for most team, Sales Navigator really works. If you're a recruiter and you use Recruiter Lite or Recruiter Seat, that just really helps you to find your target group, and you can break them down into niches. You can make them as small as you want, and I always recommend them to make them as small as possible, and like have different campaigns, and the invitations, you can send them out manually with a message that you just copy paste in it, or you can write them all. But if you make niches out of like 100, maybe 200, and have like a really specific message for them, and not being a pitch, by the way, you can throw them in a tool. You have Expandy, you have Meet Alfred. I'm doing some runs with SkyLead right now, and they all work just fine. But the funny thing is that all of these tools, none of them are perfect. None of them do everything the right way. So all of these invitation tools, as are campaigning tools I use, they all suck. Actually suck when it comes to messaging, like keeping track of all the messages coming in. So that's why I use LeadDelta. For me, LeadDelta is like the DM box, because that's where the magic happens. You just start your campaigns, like invitations and follow-up messages. Please, people, don't do the spray and pray thing where you just like keep on sending people messages after they accepted your invitation. They hate it. Just maybe one, a couple of days later, not immediately, and then just leave it. If they're not responding, that's okay. Start up the conversations at another point to do like the follow-up in a later stage when you have a hook. Like, for instance, if they like a post of you, if it's their birthday, that's something only Meet Alfred can send out birthday greetings. That's amazing. That really works. And once they're connected and your network is growing, you run into a different problem because you don't know all of these people anymore. And that's when LeadDelta really comes in, because you have amazing filter features that you can never find anywhere else. So I always recommend, like, once they're connected, start off slow. And when you have like a nurture situation, use LeadDelta to figure out how to nurture and who to nurture with. And then you got to be careful, because I know LeadDelta can send out like these messages to smaller groups as well. But if you're also running a campaign tool like Meet Alfred or Expandy, don't do it on two sides, because LinkedIn will give you a ban because you're sending out too much. So either choose to do everything through the campaigning tool or do everything through LeadDelta, which is both fine, but don't do both because you'll get restricted for
Yeah,
a day or
exactly.
two.
And this is I have to call it a rookie mistake, because as any platform, LinkedIn does not like spikes in activity,
Yeah,
whether that be manual, whether that be automation. So like even if you're not a premium user and you are sending out 100 invitations per day and none of them are accepted, you're sending out hundreds of messages manually, LinkedIn will know and will track you down.
yeah,
Of course, this amplifies as you go into automation.
yeah,
So like if you're doing a lot of manual work and on top of that you're doing you're adding automation, yes, it can trigger
yeah.
problems for your profile. And as you know, your network is your net worth, so you don't want to be sacrificing your network. So yeah, if you're choosing automation, please go
Yeah.
subtle with it.
Yeah, so let me cover the other three really fast, because those
Mm,
first three are really important. You have Reggie that you can use to write better outreaches, so invitation message and nurturing messages, to really help you pinpoint and write better sentences. I really like that tool. Zapier to connect it all, because LinkedIn is not that open, but LeadDelta is. So for me, once the conversations are starting, I want to have that data in my CRM, and the best pickup point is LeadDelta to connect it to anything else. So I really love that. And for me, I usually use Hunter to get like retrieve business email address, because in LinkedIn, pretty much everybody uses their personal mail address. So you don't have that, and most CRMs these days have the email address of a person as a unique identifier. So if you want to automate all of that with Zapier, you want to have the business email address. And I think that LeadDelta is coming up with custom fields soon, which means that you can automate that entire process, and that's going to rock. So that
yes.
means that once you have a conversation and you tag someone, it will be sent to your CRM automatically if you have built the Zapier connection.
Yes, I mean, this is why I think you're a queen of automation and workflows, and I'm so grateful we met. This is like a fangirl moment, but that's
Yeah.
the, I mean, it's the truth. But we did have, like, prior to our webinar, we did have a product discussion because we have lots of going on in LeadDelta, and we really want to make it the best tool for our users. So if you're a user, please do send us feedback. Because we're trying to build something for you. So yes, any feedback is super useful to make
Yeah.
this a great product.
Great.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, another thing I wanted to just mention really quickly is, Hanneke, I know you have not added your team to LeadDelta, but yeah, we have now made it possible to add your entire team to LeadDelta, and one of the ways we are using it when it comes to social selling is that our marketing team is connecting with our ICPs. Of course, our sales team is as well, but we have like a combined workspace where we tag leads for each other. So for example, if our marketing team is reaching out to people, they will let us know inside LeadDelta as well, rather than just slacking us and telling us, please reach out to this person. We now know that exactly in LeadDelta.
And I kind of
So
love that. That's really strong because in teams, everybody's working on things and you might run into, you might have context that might be interesting for other people. But until now, it was hard to like within all of these tools to share. But as LeadDelta being like a tool where everything comes together when it comes to conversations and having an overview and tagging people, like working with your team in it, in your LinkedIn DM box and like showing people what's going on and working on things together, I think that's a big leap forward in these things. So until now, that was not possible. Social selling
yep,
was a solitary thing to do.
yeah,
And now it's
exactly.
not. You just changed the whole game.
Yeah, thank you. We are trying to build the best possible tool for prospecting and for I mean, not just for LinkedIn, but also as we expand outside LinkedIn. I think we will have nice things to offer to our customers. I want to quickly touch upon some resources. So if you, yeah, of course, I mean, the roadmap is totally free and available for anyone to check out on our website. You can also upvote your favorite features, and you can see what we are currently working on. This is also a part of us trying to just ask for feedback and on what we are trying to build. A couple of resources if you want to take your networking to the next level is on LeadDelta .com/resources. I don't know if we have any questions. I see, yes, and thank you everyone. Hanneke, we are very much on time, and thank you very
Ah,
much.
good.
We do have about 10 minutes for questions. So I see that there is a lot going on in chat, but Ved is replying to them, so thank you, Ved. Thank you for that. Also feel free to pop anything in the Q&A if you have like any questions or examples, or are you trying to build emotion sales, social selling for your team? So yeah, do let us know.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Hanneke, can you give us any examples where like you were very proud of yourself, where social
Oh,
selling?
that's good. That's a good question. Let me think. Well, one of the things that's running right now is I wrote a book about sales tech, about how to automate your entire sales process. And it's in Dutch, coming out in Q1 in English though. But I've been notifying my network through it. And I did that by filtering all of these people in LeadDelta and then like and give them a tag, then export them and throw them into Meet Alfred. And they're all getting messages right now. And it really leads up to like super sales on my book. And it's not even out yet. It comes out on this June 7th.
Sure.
But I can see like every time, every day, a couple of messages come out and I see people responding to it and ordering the book. So it's like super simple stuff that you can just do in 2 steps, like make the filter in your network for who's relevant. I'm not sending it to everybody because that will take too long because of LinkedIn just not wanting me to send so many messages.
Yeah.
So I made like a really good drill down of people I really want to connect to. That helps. I've been like the combination of talking and then getting these people to respond. And if people respond and they're not connected to me yet, I throw them into Meet Alfred and then and tell them, hey, you liked or commented on my post. What was the reason? And then they start the conversation. So I have a hook. And then they're like, yeah, we're talking about a new CRM or something. And it just brings me business. And that happens like pretty much every day of the week. These things like lead to sales or to conversations, to getting me to talk to people I was never able to talk to. So it's yeah, it's big. It's really big. And people are very receptive to talk to you as long as you're not like full in their face with your pitch.
Yeah, definitely. And I look forward to your book coming out in English.
Yeah.
And Maya here, well, she says hello and she ordered the book immediately.
Oh, she did.
Yes. I do have a question from Candace. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Can you show how you use LeadDelta for a cadence of outreach? Do you want to like give us an example of how you use LeadDelta? I want to say that a cadence of outreach, if you mean automation, it is only possible to send bulk messages inside LeadDelta. So there is no automation. But
So there's
Hanneke,
2
you can.
steps. There's 2 steps you need to do because there's no other tool that can really help you filter all of these contacts in your network. So you're making niches with tags in LeadDelta. So you're using the filter option to get the list of your connections, then tag them, export them, and put them in a different tool. And there you can do like the sequences on reaching out and whatever. I'm even going further right now with some tools where I am like building personal sequences and like automating it directly from LeadDelta to another tools, like the moment they would get to connected. So the database of LeadDelta really helps you to filter and like pick it up through Zapier, through other tools to bring it back into sequences. So LeadDelta is not a sequence tool, but it's super powerful when it comes to having an overview of everybody in your network and who's talking to you. So it's a 2-step thing. It's never a 1-step thing.
Yeah.
No tool is perfect on that.
Yeah, Candice, I think we answered that one. And yeah, I'm super opposed to automating messages on LinkedIn. Good. No, there is a bulk message option if you want to do it directly from LeadDelta. Is there a way to remind yourself that you need to reach out? Yes, we have that option via Zapier. So for example, you need a trigger inside LeadDelta. Hanneke, you are using this, right? Also this part. Yeah, so for example, if you add a tag on your connection inside LeadDelta, you can trigger a reminder, for example, in your Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, there will be a recording. I'm sorry, I have also the chat and the Q&A. Where can we order Hanneke's new book? Srba, it is unfortunately right now only in Dutch. So as soon as it is out in English, we will be able to order it.
So the same goes
Yes.
for people who are, I just saw something coming by about Zapier being overwhelming. I understand that. I had the same thing when I started it. But people can reach out to me through LinkedIn and ask some questions. And if they really want help, we can just connect and get it going. That's fine. Because those automation steps are overwhelming. So if you really want to go far on it and have it like all automated, it's a serious step and it requires some time and some knowledge, but I'm more than happy to help.
Perfect. I think we also have some content around that. So
Yeah.
if anyone's interested, of course, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very chatty, as you can see. We'll help you set that one up.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of more minutes, but everyone is saying bye-bye. I hope everyone has enjoyed this session. It was super helpful for me as well, because I am also learning to set my motion here. So I want to thank Hanneke for this. Hanneke, do you have any questions for me? All I did was doing questions for you.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that we didn't talk about, but you're a LinkedIn queen as well. So
Thank
what
you.
is the one thing that you want to teach sales on LinkedIn to do? What do you want to tell them?
I want to tell them that social selling is a fun world to be in. It is definitely a marathon, and you will not be seeing results right away. But if you stick to it, if you're persistent with it, and if you're genuine, because I think genuinity is something that we need on LinkedIn. We don't need everyone telling us how great they are, because no one's great and no one's perfect. We need you to be genuine with it, and like those people that will resonate with you will ultimately become either your friends, your new bosses, or your customers.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining. You will get the recording, of course. I hope this was helpful for you. And Hanneke, thank you very much once again.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.